MA087, Chapter 2.1, Introduction to Integers. Okay. Integers are the numbers, 1 to 3, 0, and -1, -2, -3, -4, and so on. So these are the integers. However, there are, based on the number 0, from this number 0, all the numbers to the right of this 0 is called positive numbers. So starting from here to here, all the way to the right, and these numbers are called what? Positive numbers. They are positive numbers. And then if the numbers to the left of the zeros, left of 0, then all these numbers are called what? They are negative numbers. Negative numbers. So positive numbers has positive sign. So for example, 1. Okay, 1 is a positive number, right? Positive number. So you can put positive 1 or 1. So this is positive numbers. And used for the positive numbers, we usually do not write the sign plus. So always we omit the plus sign for positive numbers. But if the number is a negative number, then okay, let's say -2. This is negative number, right? -2. So always for the negative number, there is a negative sign. Always there is a negative sign. Negative sign. Always. So numbers are either positive or negative or 0. So one of these three numbers: positive number, negative number, and 0. Alright, and then integers. Then what are the integers? Okay, integers does not have a decimal number, so is like a 1 to 3. Now, do you remember the numbers starting from 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on? They are natural numbers, right? And then if there's a negative sign, then there's a negative natural numbers. So we call it negative integers. So natural numbers are positive integers. And then if we put the negative sign to the natural numbers, then they are negative numbers. And the middle is 0. So here, so integers have positive integers, 0, and negative integers. Okay, so integers are all these numbers. So integers are composed of negative integers, 0, and positive integers. And 0 is called the origin, and then it is neither positive nor negative. Okay, so they are integers. So for the integers on the number line, then on the number line, okay, always the center is 0, and as you go to the right, then the positive numbers. So so the numbers are starting from 0, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. If you go to the left, then put -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and so on. So any number that is right of another number, then those numbers to the right is always larger. So 1 is placed on the right side of this 0. So 1 is greater than 0. And 4 is greater than 3. 4 is greater than any numbers that is to the left of 4. Okay, so right side is larger than the number on the left side. So here it is. Okay, let's compare 2 and -3. Okay, 2 is over here, and negative 3 is here. So -3 is on the left, 2 is on the right. So 2 is greater than -3, because 2 is to the right of -3. Okay, can you see it? So 2 is right of -3. So 2 is greater than -3. How about this? How about -4 and 1? Okay, Then 1, let's check. So 1 is right of negative 4, right? 1 is right of, 1 is to the right. 1 is to the right of negative 4. So 1 is greater than negative 4. Okay. So if a number, A is greater than right of B, A is right of B, then A is greater because A is on the right side of that number B. Okay, or if A is to the left of B, sorry, if A is left of B, then since A is left side of B, A is less than B. Can you see it on the number line? On the number line, any number on the right is greater than the numbers on the left. And the numbers on the left are less than the numbers on the right. Okay, so that is how we, so as positive integers increases, the number is increasing. As the negative number goes to the left, the numbers are getting less and less, smaller and smaller as you go to the left. As you go to the right on the number line, the numbers are increasing. As you go to the left, then the numbers are decreasing, getting smaller and smaller. So let's compare 2 and negative 8. As you see this on the number line, 2 is right of number negative 8. So 2 is right of number 8, right of negative 8. So 2 is greater. Okay, how about compare these two numbers, negative 6 and negative 3. And negative 6 is to the left of negative 3. So negative 6 is smaller, right? Smaller. And negative 3 is greater. So negative 3 is to the right of negative 6. So negative 3 is greater. Or negative 6 is to the left of negative 3. So negative 6 is less than. Okay, on the number line, let's say G, the value of G is 2. So G is 2, then I is 4. So since this is number line, okay, 2 and H should be 3, right? So 2, 3, 4. So you can write it 2, 3, 4. As you go to the left, then you subtract 1 from here. So 2, 1, 0, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, and negative 4. So the value of B is negative 3, right? So B is equal to negative 3 and D equals negative 1. So based on this number, the given number 2 and 4, we know that H is 3 because it's between 2 and 3. Then each digit is 1. There's a 1 difference. So as you go to the left, you subtract 1 from the number. As you go to the right, add 1 to the number, right? All right, look at the definition of a number. Opposite of a number. The opposite of a number means it goes to the other side, same distance from 0 and go to the other side, towards 0. So for example, the opposite of 3 means here is number 3. And the opposite of 3 means from this 0, go to the other side of the 0, the other side. So since you are 3 distance away from the 0 to the right, you move to the left, 3 units to the left from the 0. So negative 3. So 3 is over here. So you go to the opposite side from 0, then this is negative 3. So the opposite of 3 is negative 3. How about the opposite of negative 3? Then the same thing. If you are on negative 3, then the opposite side is what? Positive 3. So that will be positive 3. Isn't it simple? So the opposite means change the sign of the number. So if the opposite of 4, then that will be negative 4. Change the number. So what we do is change the number, right? Change the sign. change the sign of the number. That's the opposite. Or you can write it like this. So how do you change the sign? So you have a number 3, right? 3. Then put the negative sign, so it becomes positive 3. The opposite. This is the opposite. So you have a negative 3, then the opposite of negative 3 means put the negative sign, so it becomes positive 3. I'm sorry, the first one is negative 3, sorry. So negative, so the opposite. So this minus sign means the opposite of this number 3. So what's the opposite of 3? The other side, right? Go to the other side. So it becomes minus 3, negative 3. And opposite of negative 3 becomes what? The opposite of negative 3 is, you put the negative sign here. So the negative opposite of negative 3 is go to the other side, go to the positive side. So it becomes 3. So from here, what we can know is, if you have a negative sign in front of this, then change the sign of this 3. And if you have a negative sign in front of this number, negative number, then it becomes positive number 3. Okay, that's the opposite. Okay, so whenever we have opposite of a number, opposite negative sign parenthesis, then you can just remove the parenthesis. If we have opposite of negative number, then the result is only the number A. Okay, so change the sign, and then change the sign of what's inside the change the sign of the number inside the parenthesis. Okay. All right, then if a number is negative number, something like this, negative 3, this is negative 3, it's a negative number, then there is no space between this minus sign and the number 3, no space. But if it's an operation like a minus, so 2 minus 3, if this is minus, then you may put a space between minus sign and number. Okay, can you see the difference? So if it's a negative number, then don't put the space between the negative sign and the number 3. All right, then how do you read this expression? So this is 7 minus, right? This is not opposite. This is actually minus sign, right? Minus. And then 7 minus negative 9. This is how we read negative 9. Then can you simplify this? Yes, we can simplify this. We will do simplifying it later. So this is how we read. Okay, then how do you read this one? Negative 4 plus 10. No, I already read this. So this is what? Negative 4. Is it minus 4 or negative 4? Okay, the first number is a negative number, so you read it as negative 4. And the plus sign is, this is not positive, this is plus sign. You are adding 2 numbers. So you have to write plus instead of positive. So plus 10. So number is either positive. When you read a number, then it's either positive or negative. If an expression contains plus and minus, it's about adding and subtraction, then use plus or minus. Okay, now let's learn the definition of the absolute value. Okay, absolute value means always is the distance. Absolute value of 2 means it's the distance of this number 2 from 0. So the distance is always positive, right? Positive. So the absolute value of 3 means, you can write it like this. Absolute value of 3, then you have a number 3, then the symbol for the absolute value is bar. Use a long bar around the number 3. So that means you are at 3, right? 3. Then the absolute value of 3 means is the distance from what? From the value 0, from 0. So that's the distance from here to here. So what is the distance between these two? 0 and 3? That is 3, right? 3. So absolute value of 3 means 3. Make it positive. Okay, how about the absolute value of negative 3? So here's negative 3, then the absolute value means put the absolute value symbol around this number negative 3. So you're at negative 3, and here is 0. So the distance from 0 to negative 3 is what? 3, right? 3. So the result will be, the absolute value will be 3. So negative 3 means, absolute value of negative 3 means is the distance from 0 to negative 3, which is positive 3. So this is really simple. The absolute value of a number is just to make it positive. That's it. Just to make the number positive. Simple, isn't it? So absolute value means make the number positive. How about the opposite of a number? Do you remember the opposite of number? Opposite of number means change the sign of the number. If the number is negative, then make it positive. If the number is positive, then make it negative. That's the opposite of a number. So opposite of number means put the negative sign. There's a negative sign in front of a number, then that's the opposite of the number. Okay, absolute value means what? Distance. So always make the number positive. Okay, so the absolute value of a positive number is also positive. Absolute value of a negative number also becomes positive. How about the absolute value of 0? Then that is 0. Because 0 is positive, 0 is 0, negative 0 is 0, right? So that is 0. Alright, so absolute value of 5 is what? Make it positive 5. Absolute value of negative 5, make this number positive. Absolute of 0 is, that is 0. Okay, how about this? Okay, there's a more example. How about put the negative sign and the negative absolute value of 7? Then how about this number? Okay, so negative is outside the absolute value. So negative stays outside, and negative 7 is, and absolute value of 7 is what? Absolute value of 7 is 7, right? So the result will be negative 7. So negative is outside, in front of the absolute value symbol. So that is outside the absolute value. So just leave the negative sign in front of this number. Okay. Or this can be negative sign. You can write it as negative as opposite of absolute value of 7. Absolute value of 7 is 7. So opposite of 7 is negative 7. Same thing. Right? Same thing. Okay, so now let's rewrite these numbers from smallest to largest. Okay, so let's convert each to a number. So absolute value of negative 7 is 7. And this is negative 5. So let me write it like equal to. So absolute value of 0 is equal to 0. And opposite of negative 4. Opposite of negative 4 is change the sign of negative 4, right? So that is 4, positive 4. And this one is negative, opposite of absolute value of negative 3. Absolute value of negative 3 is 3, right? So this is equal to negative 3. Then from here, the smallest is negative 5, and then negative 3, and then 0, 4, and 7 is the largest one. So you can write it. So negative 5 is this, and negative 3 comes from here. So there will be negative absolute value of negative 3. And 0 comes from absolute value of 0. 4 comes from negative absolute value of 4. And 7 comes from absolute value of negative 7. So this is the order from smallest to the largest.